ready for the Bob Graham Experience.
We're going to dig into what success really is all about with Kim Kasparian of Success Genie today. In my interview, we talk about mindset, we talk about personal energy, and we talk about how all sales, and all of us are doing sales all the time, all sales are related to relationships. She digs deep, and I make a really interesting admission that I wasn't expecting to make towards the middle or end of the broadcast. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It's an interview you don't want to miss. All that and more on the Bob Graham Experience. Here we go. Hey, Kimberly, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so excited. We were having a really good discussion beforehand. I love when there's like, no, wait, we got to talk about that on the air. We got to do that.
That was fun. Yeah.
First of all, I want to start with the easy question for you. Tell us how you got from wherever you started in your entrepreneurial journey to where you are right now today.
Okay. Well, the entrepreneurial journey started when I was 12, just so you know.
Okay. And you're 14 now, right now.
Yeah.
For you people listening, she's not quite 14. Maybe.
I'm not quite 14, but shh, don't tell my husband. All right. But when I started in this business, my coaching business, which is about 25 years old.
Okay.
I was right before I was working a corporate sales career job. Mm-hmm. Because life happened, and realized why at 19 I knew I didn't want to do corporate sales, but that's a different story.
Okay.
And there was a fundamental change in leadership, and a whole bunch of us got laid off because we said no, we have integrity. We're not gonna poison our relationships in our community because you've lost your mind. So I found myself in my new condo that I put my life savings into because I had a great, and did it because I had a job. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks severance pay, and decided I'm never working for another dysfunctional boss that hires me because of my relationship building skills and then won't let me use my relationship building skills. So I decided I wanted to teach people how to be me. At the time, I started my offer with, I'll show you or your team how to triple your sales in 90 days, having fun without me.
Wow.
And they're like, okay. So, and then from there, they're like, you solved that problem really well. Can you come into the C-suite and like use some of that and help us over here? Okay. And that's literally how I started my business. I had relationships. I didn't sometimes when life, because we're going to talk about that, how life takes twists and turns. Mm-hmm. Sure. I started as an entrepreneur at 12. I didn't quite get it right until 27, 20, like almost 30.
What were you selling at 12? Lemonade?
I was the best babysitter within 5 blocks. Everyone knew if you needed a kid you can trust with your kids, it was me. And I made really great money. I actually, from doing that, a couple other things, like I always had bank. Like my mom was like, hey, you got anything? I'm like, yeah, how much she needs. So.
Were your parents entrepreneurs? Is that where you got that spirit from?
My mom always had the spirit, was always doing something entrepreneurial. I grew up with entrepreneurs. So I guess, I'm Armenian. I come from the survivors of the Armenian genocide of 1915. Mm-hmm. So my grandfather, they all, and if you had family immigrants, they come to this country, they get a job. There is no job. We make a job. So my grandfather was a tailor.
Okay.
His kid, some of his daughters became entrepreneurs or married entrepreneurs. I grew up with entrepreneurs.
Okay. Do you think that gave you an advantage?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I grew up with entrepreneurs, but they were the most dysfunctional, lovable bunch of people I've ever, in my life. So, you're blessed and you're stressed on both sides.
Okay. Because I was not raised in that environment. I was raised by a teacher and a government employee. So my mother famously said to me one time when I drove her to the airport and I had a suit on. She's like, where are you going? I said, a networking event. She had no idea that I had to get business. She thought that she's like, don't people just call you? I was like, I wish.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's a way to have people do that. But yeah,
you've got to do the work.
Half and half. Half my family was entrepreneurs. Half of them were 9-to-5ers.
Okay.
My grandmother worked worked for Sikorsky's, which is like a, for a bit. That was like 25 years there. So she was from work hard,
Okay.
And I called her in 20. I said, you have middle class. She said, so she was trying to help me figure out how to pay for my dream. And it didn't come through the right way. It was more
Uh-huh.
like, don't do your dream. Like I'll do this. I can pay for that. So at 20 something, I said, you have such middle class values. I didn't want her to know. I told my mother, don't tell grandma I'm starting my own business. And then grandma found out. And she's like, why didn't you want me to know? I didn't want you to ick on my wow.
Right.
Like I didn't.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, and she was like, oh, honey, she goes, I didn't mean it that. This is like,
Right.
I never meant it that way. It meant I couldn't pay for that, but I could get you a trade or I could get you a skill set so you could work your way for that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, and she's like, and now I see you doing it. So it's all like, she was my biggest cheerleader. And I'm like, that got lost in translation, Graham.
Yes.
So I have the wisdom of both.
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
yeah. So I teach
So,
this wisdom of both.
so let's talk about sales. You have the unique perspective. You have 25 years plus in this industry of sales, and you're a woman.
Yeah.
Now I know because I've been through that 25 years that women's roles in the workplace have changed dramatically. Have you seen shifts in how women are treated in sales roles? Is it better, worse?
All right. So I've been literally selling for more than that, but this career, but I'll take
Okay.
25. Yeah, I'd like 25. Um, this is
Yeah,
what
that was your number, not mine.
well, 25 coaching, 40. I've
Okay,
been
okay, all right.
17 years in sales before.
I didn't want to add to it that I know
It's all right.
better.
I started when I was 2. Um, this is what I would say. In corporate, it it's a game and you
Mhm,
have to learn how to play that game. I'm not going to say there's not a gender bias. I'm not going to say there's a wage gap because there is.
mhm,
And I've worked with salespeople, women in corporate sales. Like I work with businesses,
mhm,
corporate. This is my advice on this. And this is what I taught. And I can give you an example if we have time.
mhm.
Paint yourself green. This is what I taught my corporate people during downsizing, during reorgs, during the most complicated corporate game, like Game of Thrones going on in their
Okay.
organization. If you want to be in sales, be in sales. Like, okay, I love sales because you build a lot of great relationships and you make a lot of money. If you're concerned about what you said, which is true, I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist, and it still
Mhm.
exists. Paint yourself green because everybody loves the color of green.
Okay.
Now, when I'm in corporate, when my people go, well, Kim, how do I do that? I say, you become so valuable and you make them so much money, they can't get rid of you, even if they can't stand you.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. So there's a way to do it. If people want to, I teach my clients, I call it mafia management, and I have them watch, and you don't have to hire me to do this. Go watch, I have them do it and we
Mhm.
discuss, but go watch The Godfather 1 and 2,
Yeah.
study
Yes.
Michael and Don Corleone, so
Yeah.
Marlon Brando, and study their styles. Okay, because that's a
Okay.
management style.
Yeah.
And that'll help you understand, like, when do you need to be more like Don Corleone, and where you act like Don Corleone, you think like Michael, and go study, um, or watch if you like movies, because I get, God talks to me through the movies. Bugsy, the movie Bugsy,
Yep.
and Ben Kingsley paid
Mhm.
Siegel, uh, Myra Lansky.
Yeah.
You can Google Myra Lansky. He
Mhm.
was the only Jewish accountant in the Italian mafia in the 1940s.
Okay.
Back then, Italians and Jewish people did not like each other. They had very
Right.
nasty names for each other. They would not sit at the table, never mind do business together. But
Okay.
Myra was the most trusted, valued member and always made sure their money was clean, it grew, and they always had access to it, but he never told them how he did it or where it was, so he could never get offed.
Okay.
Okay. And even when Bugsy oversold the Flamingo, which started Las Vegas, and they all wanted to like
Mhm.
bury him 6 feet under, Myra said, listen, you can't do that because if you do that, I can't get your money back.
Right.
So, and he's my friend, and like he had relationship skills. And because he had relationship skills and he painted himself green, he lived a very
Okay.
long, healthy life, and everyone was happy. So when it comes to being in less than welcoming waters,
Mm-hmm.
the secret is be of value, make them money, but never let them know how you do it. So they can't get rid of you even if they wanted to.
Okay. All right. I like that. Wow. That was you covered a whole lot of history and
There you
movies and a
go.
lot.
I'm my dad's daughter. You'd come to him for a question, he'd either tell you, go look at the encyclopedia, or he'd tell you a story about someone in history, and he's like, let's discuss.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna move in a new direction. When
Okay.
I first started my entrepreneurial journey, I thought that a lot of the business would find me. If I went out and talked to people about what I do, they just go, "Oh my God, Bob, that is so awesome! Help me, help me." What I've realized over the years is it's a constant effort. You're constantly having to grow your business and find people, and it never, to my knowledge, gets totally easy. When you're dealing with the folks that, what's the matter? You're looking
No,
at
I'm
me
just
like
saying
that.
that's okay. I've just
Do
that's a, I
you
have a
want to
different I have,
comment?
I have a
Please go
different
ahead.
experience, but that's okay. But that's okay. I'm
No,
listening. I'm
go
just like,
ahead.
wow.
Please
No,
jump
no,
in.
no, go ahead. But let's listen, because you know what? There's more people having your experience than my experience. So
Okay.
let's put your experience on the table.
Okay. All right. And I think when I was teaching college, I taught college students who were brilliant engineers, and they thought they were creating products in their dorm rooms, in their apartments, and these were great products. I mean, really good stuff. They thought that they were going to graduate and either people were going to find their product or they were going to buy Google Ads.
Yeah.
And that was the answer. And I find so many people, it's like, well, I'm just going to go to my Facebook page and tell them that I'm selling this thing, or I'm going to send emails to all my friends and they're all going to buy from me.
Hmm.
Do you find that with the people you're working with at all, that they have that it's going to be easier than it is mentality? And how do you deal with that?
I have found that mentality online.
Okay.
So, in all fairness, up until 2018, I was a nose to nose, knees to knees kind of girl.
Okay.
My reputation goes across the country, and people would call me based on, but old school.
Okay.
People know me; they share the word. I had a
Sure.
car accident in 2018 that really bruised me up and changed the trajectory of my life.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was forced online because I still needed to make I still needed to work, and this is what I
Right.
do. So I was really new to online, and I kind of left my business brains like, oh, like I can't listen to what I know. I've got to learn something new.
Right.
And yes, online, um, absolutely that mentality is prevalent.
Hmm.
And I've got a lot to say about that. So we'll
Please.
just, there is um, a business model that everyone's been pushing that it's 2000 late, it's over. And that's the coaching industry is all in a tizzy. And I'm like, with the trends, I'm like, it's not a trend. It's called come back to integrity and what coaching is. And the buffet is closed now. Okay. It was never selling. It's easy to sell, like in the real estate industry in the 80s. I remember my mom,
Hmm.
you could be dumb, deaf, dumb, and blind and still do real estate in the
Right.
80s. And then the crash came and everyone's like, oh, it's so hard. It's like, no, now the people with skill set
Okay.
and maturity need to work the business, because even in any economy, people need a place to live.
Sure.
You got the 2006 craze about everyone makes money online.
Hmm.
Then you had COVID, where everyone would buy like anything that wasn't nailed down, or say yes to anything because they were bored.
Right. They buy a
Yeah,
course for
right,
$99 that
right.
would lead to
Anything. Like
coaching.
I'll try anything. I got nothing to do here. I'm like,
Right.
and you have the rise of the. I'm the original Kim K, by the way, but the Kardashian influencer, Paris Hilton.
Okay.
Let me tweet for $10,000. It gave a new business model was created called
Hmm.
the influencer model.
Okay.
Okay. And everyone joined the train because it seemed so easy, and everyone was selling everyone on how easy it is. Maybe it was. People did. If you got in on the now that's over. Now the ones who know how to sell, build, and it's not about selling, it's about building relationships. No one's buying something they don't want.
Right.
Okay. But your ability to build relationships and market in a way and basically tell them why your stuff will help them get what they want, that's work. That takes mindset, that takes skill set, that takes showing up to the work.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you sell in every business model, and even when we were born. So if it's like, I don't sell, you were born, you sold somebody on changing your diaper, feeding
Feeding you.
you, holding you until you went to sleep. So we're all salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you get your mother to buy that thing she said she wasn't going to buy until Christmas, and you walk out of the store with it because like you're a salesperson. But it's important to know what business model works for you.
Okay.
And the influencer model only works if you have like lots of people, and either you're going to find them because you know how to network, or you build lists, or you
Mm-hmm.
buy ads. Acceptable, but you just don't buy ads and it magically like
Right.
your product gets exchanged in money in your, there's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't either tell you that or you didn't think that because you just thought, here's my a credit card, make me rich, which you were seduced into thinking. But depending on how your budget and your
Mm-hmm.
personality and your ability to work, because actually those passive business models
Mm-hmm.
are more work than you and I having a cup of coffee saying, hey, does this work for you? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay, let's go. So there's a little bit more to it.
Okay.
And business is business is business. The rules don't change, but you might want to live in a condo. I might want to live in an RV. No, I want a sprawling ranch. Okay. Different levels of maintenance, different levels of, there's a million ways.
Right.
So I think people get lost in the promise
Mm-hmm.
versus the reality of, well, what do I need to do? What's the investment I need to make to get that promise?
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. And I think you're also talking about the idea of the relationships being you and me talking. After this discussion, I could call you in a month and say, hey, Kim, I was thinking of these things. I wonder if this is something that you might be interested in, or do you know someone? Because we've
Yeah.
developed that relationship by investing the time. I think one
Yeah.
of the
And
things
that's,
I see is people lack the desire to invest the time. It's easy to send emails to a million people that you don't know because then you're not being salesy, even though your email's salesy. It's harder to do this. It's hard to, how many people do you know that would not do a podcast with me or with you because I don't really like talking that much. And
well,
I find that,
and that's fine. I know one of my bosses went after a car accident in 95 and put my entrepreneurial journey on pause. I ended up
you got
working
to
for
stay
his company.
healthy.
Yeah, no, it's kids in red lights. Young men in red lights. I've
okay.
been sealed and healed. I never do anything. I'm just sitting there minding my own business. But I ended up working for him as an administrator. I was still doing physical therapy. I needed a job. I was
Mm-hmm.
temping. And he was like, you're doing a great job, but he's like, you're not like, they're like, you're not an admin. I'm like, well, yeah, it's true, but am I doing something? They're like, no, but, and they found out who I was, what I did. They're like, well, you should come on the sales side and like, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he was incredible. Built his business at the tiny room table at his parents' house. We were all young back
Mm-hmm.
then. And he couldn't even say hello to me and have a conversation like this. It was the beginning of intermail, like not
Oh yeah.
email,
Yeah.
but he would talk to me through email. It was so odd to me. I'm like, I'm right. I'm like, no,
Right.
we'll talk through here. But he was smart because he knew, he was like, I can't talk to people. He was so introverted, but he hired his best friend. And his business model was, I'll do all the back end. I'll deal with the company that we resell for.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys you build a relationship. So he had 10 of us.
Okay.
He had a multi-million-dollar business, and he
Wow.
paid us well. And I loved it because I got to, but I remember him calling me up. I was on the road and he's like, Kim, will you talk to this customer? And it happened to be my colleague's customer. We had a deal. We never touched each other. We all
Right.
were like, had our own universes. And I'm like, well, that's Cindy's customer. Like, and I'm not, he's like, please, Kim, she's not, I can't find her. And they're really upset. And if I get on the phone, we're going to lose a big account. So just please, just do your thing and find out what they want and say, okay, like I'll get John to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. Because we never interfered. So I did. And I'm like, okay, like that's what you want. Okay, 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 like, okay. And I gave it to him. He's like, Kasparian, you're the best. Because he went and fixed it.
Right.
Um, he was smart. He knew what he did well, and he couldn't. But he invested, and I think this is the missing piece, Bob. Business requires an investment. I started with no money,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But I had to make money and invest it really quick.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I think there's a thing the past 6 years about you just start a business and magically money falls into your lap. And
I'm
I'm not,
waiting.
and I'm not saying, and I think we were all seduced into that, honestly.
Well, that's the media portrayal.
Well,
You
it's
know,
more than that. I
the
know I'm going to call
stories,
coach. I'm going
the
to call.
movies you see, the stories you see, the TV shows you see, it's always, we talk about Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Those are exceptions. They are not the rule. And I taught college, I taught entrepreneurship. It's really hard to find an entrepreneurship book that talks about the real world.
Yeah, well, I remember back then when I was I laugh when colleges started teaching entrepreneurship. That was like
Mhm.
a joke and a half. But this is what I want our listeners to know. If you don't love what you do or you're not called to be an entrepreneur, get a job. Because if all you want is the money, get a job.
So, what are
Because
the things that if I had a calling to entrepreneurship, define that? Because everyone says that, but give me what are the qualities I should be? Hey, Bob, you know what? Yeah, you do that well. You do that. You can do that. Yeah, you'll figure that out. What are they?
there's more to entrepreneur. If all you want to do is do what you love to do and that's it, get a job. Because
Okay.
I'm happy to show you how to get a job that pays you the big bucks, gives you what you want without sacrificing your sanity or your morality, and create a win-win with a business that sees your value, is more than willing to invest in your value, and you get a 401k, you get paid time off, and you get to like clock off at 7 o'clock at night and be done and just come back the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Because and all you have to do is do what you do, and you have a whole team around you to do all the stuff you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gift of being part of a team.
Okay.
You're hired for your talent, you stay in your lane, you play nice with others, and you get paid.
Okay.
Entrepreneur is where you are being the CEO of a business, meaning you're building relationships and you're learning to build a
Mm-hmm.
dream team around your brilliance. And in the beginning, we're chief cook, bottle washer, janitor, marketer,
Mm-hmm.
salesperson, and client deliverer, unless we design the business from the get go and we fund it that we don't have to.
Okay.
But usually, most of us, like me, I was thinking about it, but I'm like, well, I got a job now and I got a mortgage, and I'm like, maybe I should be just happy with where I'm at. The universe said, "Oh no, contrary. You've been there long enough. It's the baby eagle,
Mm-hmm.
right?" I didn't know I had wings until I got punted out, and I made a decision. No matter what, I'll walk down, Main Street naked for $5 a grab before I ever go back to working for someone who won't let me do what I do. And what I do is build relationships and make money
Okay.
in a win-win way.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Okay.
But it took a journey. It took 25 years to figure out how do I put a business around that.
Sure. You
So,
used the phrase earlier, get a job. Does that mean you think of entrepreneurship as something other than a job? And if so,
yes,
what?
yes. Um, Entrepreneurs usually, I don't know if you can see me. I glare if I'm hopefully like you can see me, but
Oh, you're fine.
okay, great. Most entrepreneurs, let me just say this. Most entrepreneurs, when you have a calling,
Mm-hmm.
you want to create more impact. you're so good at what you do and you want to be untethered to do it your way because your way is the better way and it can help so many people and you want to do that. That's what I call a calling.
Okay.
Okay. A true entrepreneur looks for connections and deals, like you have tomatoes, you have potatoes, I have distribution, let's make a deal. That's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And that's fine. They're always hustling. They're always putting people together and making money. But most of my people are people that, well, I want to have a business. Okay. But this is where the thing is, we don't create business as entrepreneurs. We create a job and we don't know it until we're maxed out. We're working a lot of hours and our money gets capped. Or we get maxed out and we're like, this isn't fun. And you know what? And I tell my entrepreneurs, even my 6-figure and 7-figure entrepreneurs, like, do me a favor, take the revenue, divide it by 3. They're like, why? I go, because the third is your actual paycheck. They're like, what? I'm like, oh, you thought your revenue was your paycheck and you've been poaching the paycheck and you wonder why you're always chasing your tail. Yeah, no. Whatever you make, you get 30%. That's not a lot. Raise your prices because you ain't working for free, kid.
Right.
All right. But that's the problem because they'll say, well, I don't have money to hire people, or I don't know how to hire people. And I understand, or I know how to hire, but I'm afraid. And I understand that. My first time building a team, I lost $3.6 million we'll get to that. And I tell them, your job as a business owner is to always lead, but get out of the day-to-day, at least with what you don't like to do. And you don't hire somebody less talented than you, because I love this. Oh, I need this, but I can't afford it, so I'll get an intern or a VA. Not throwing shade at my VAs. They're worth their weight in gold, but VAs are not strategists. They are not coaches. They are not VPs of a department.
They do what you tell them.
Right. And they do it well. Yeah. But if you need what you need to be able to pay that talent what they deserve and can bring to the table, because the right hire will make you more money than doing things yourself.
Right.
But where does the money come from? It's called your business. And a salesperson is always, so my thing is, let me turn you from a salesperson to a CEO. I remember I always treated my business, my little sales territory, as I was the CEO, but my only focus was how many phones or how many, job spot, whatever. I sold staffing, I sold cosmetics, I sold phones. How many do you need me to sell for you to manage the company? And I was always focused on, well, if I sell this, my paycheck is that.
Okay.
I never had to worry about, I had a whole team always to make sure the phones were ordered, make sure the staffing got, all that.
Fulfillment. You just had to sell and that was
and manage that relationship. And I was just focused on, how much do you need me to sell? Because you're the numbers of the company, and I know how much I want to get paid. That
marry those two and you're good.
Right. And you're good. So when you're on your own and you're being like the salesperson, who's telling you the number?
Right.
And not just your paycheck number, the number, and who's hiring and who's doing all that back end stuff that you used to have done for you.
Right.
That's the piece that we don't know until we get in or you talk to someone like us. And more than that, which I wish someone had told me at the beginning of my journey, because but this is what no one tells you. The minute you decide to go being a great employee to owning a business, you are committing to the biggest, grandest spiritual journey of your life. And all the boogeymen and the demons that you put deep, deep, deep down to the recesses of your spirit all come out at once saying, hey, how are you? Let's get to work. Like, you got to deal with me before you get the money. Because, you don't get the money without dealing with me.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and that's it's so mindset and having the emotional maturity to address that is what takes most entrepreneurs out of the game. So that's why I say, you don't want that. You're not willing to do that. Get a job.
So that's where you talk about personal energy, right? I was looking at your website and you talk about you need to have I believe it was strong personal energy. Is that what? So,
Managing your personal energy. So I
okay.
teach even in sales. Here's the deal. Even if you're like Kim, whoa, like when I chose sales because I
Mhm.
wanted to work 20 hours a week and make six figures.
Okay.
I had other passions I wanted to pursue.
Okay.
After the car accident in 95 and then the succession, I really only have 20 to 30 hours to give my business because it
Okay.
takes the rest of my life to get this straight, the body working and,
Okay.
do my things. So I still say you can have a 6, 7 figure business working 30 hours a week. That's my promise.
Okay.
At
That
some
seems
point,
impossible to me, just so you know.
I
I work
know.
about 50 to 60 hours a week,
Yeah.
and I find that on the weeks I don't work that much, I see a corresponding lack of leads, lack of things getting done. Like this, we're recording this on Thanksgiving week on Monday morning, and my biggest fear is that I've got a family wedding coming up Wednesday. Tuesday, there's a rehearsal dinner. There's some stuff to do during the day. Thursday's Thanksgiving, and Friday's Black Friday.
Right.
So
You're
this
living in
week,
time. You're
this is
living.
this is a week where I've got to really fight myself to be like, you know what, just give it up. Just
Right.
start again next Monday. And I always have that internal battle, and I think a lot of people have that battle, not
Yeah.
just like from holidays, but it can be family
It
commitments.
can
You
be
know,
well
my kids
time.
are they're playing
Yeah.
soccer, and I'd like to see their games. So how do we even start to contemplate that there's a better way? You're saying you can make six figures in 30 hours a week. I know
Yeah.
it's possible,
Yeah.
but those are unicorns to me.
Okay. Well, they're not. Well, unicorns. Then let me just say this: unicorns do exist.
Okay.
Okay. I have a whole database
I
of
think
them.
you just gave me the headline for this.
Yeah. No, unicorns do it. I'm the success genie, guys. I was not bold enough to give myself that moniker. Over the years, my clients have said to me, "You're a genie." I'm like, "Why?" I did what you said. I started managing energy instead of time, and everything just shows up and it gets done. And I'm like, that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to work. We're
Okay, go
spiritual.
into this because
All right.
now you've got my interest
All
peaked.
right.
And
So,
I'm really struggling with this idea. And I know it's all about mindset. I know if I think the right thoughts all day, I'll have
no, it's
better outcomes and it'll
that's not
bring stuff
mindset.
to
No,
me.
that's not mindset.
Okay,
Mindset. Okay. I'm going to do it and I'm going to do the genieisms because this is how I teach.
that's
And
fine.
just because and if you guys have interest, come get to know me. I have a whole free community. I have resources on this, but it
You also
usually either
send some great emails
yeah.
I've been
Yeah,
getting.
yeah.
They're really
It
nice.
it's it speaks to your spirit. Either it speaks to your spirit or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's okay. So we always start with success is our birthright. I believe that. I know that my journey into entrepreneurial life and having my life fall apart 3 times before I was 30 taught me this is true.
Okay.
Okay. You can have your life wiped out like mine 3 times and your dream comes back because it's your birthright. It's what you signed up to live here. It's your calling. You might maybe be to be a mom, be an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter because a business to me is just a vehicle.
So
That's
that would
why I
be
say if it's not making you happy, get a job.
so correspondingly or conversely, if I'm not having the success that you suggest is my birthright, that means something's standing in the way.
Yes.
And that's me.
It's one of four things.
Okay.
It's your mindset, which we correct with 7 skills that you don't know how to use. So mindset.
Okay.
The way I teach mindset, I can teach you how your brain works and all that great stuff, but I get your mind to flip just by saying to you and having you say to yourself, success is my birthright. And I get to have fun to get it done because that's what I live by. Success is my birthright. And if it ain't fun, it ain't getting done. Even if I have to, shovel manure off my floor because life pooped all over my plants. Okay. I got to do it. But if it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. So either I get someone else to do it or I make it fun so I can get it done.
Okay.
For me, life becomes easier, even when it's hard, when I choose to manage energy, because energy is real. Time is not. Anybody who does Einstein, you went to math, time is an illusion. It only happens in space and time. We are 5-dimensional beings. Okay.
Okay.
We have an energy that's not It's proven, Einstein proven, we're a hologram. This is not solid. So, we don't talk about that enough in business or in school. So you have a whole system, you have an engine, you have like a Ferrari engine in in this that you don't know how to use. I teach you how to use it. It's called manage your personal energy, because energy is infinite. And energy, frequency, like Joe Dispenza, like I just make all of that really simple without having to get a PhD. Where focus goes, energy flows. What you believe, you receive. Your attitude determines your altitude. You can do everything wrong with the right attitude and succeed. You can do everything right with a crappy attitude and go nowhere. You want to live the dream? You want to make more money? Raise your self-esteem. It's the foundation of success. It's the foundation of your business. It's the foundation of relationships. I'll die on that hill. Integrity is how things work for you. It's not about who's better, who's worse, who's right, who's wrong. A criminal who steals is in its integrity. I would not expect a criminal to go straight and get a job. I would expect a criminal to steal because that's what they do. Okay. So be in your lane. Make it, I say business and life is like Burger King. It's your way. Most people don't ask themselves, what's my way? And strategy doesn't exist unless you have a focus and it's really something you want. And your strategy is a win-win, meaning you win, they win, we all win. If you're part of your energy, your spirit says that's not a win or that's a lose for them, your genie basically goes like this: I'll wait. I'll eat popcorn until you get it because I ain't coming to play that shit. And that's where we think, then that's when people go, I'm procrastinating. I'm like, no, it's your genie saying, I ain't playing that way. That's a lose-lose, dude. Like, wake up and smell the hummus. And when you learn to manage these 7 skills and manage your energy, which saved my bacon because I too was doing this 60 hours a week because I was young and dumb and that's what everyone was telling me to do. And I really only had 20 hours because I was in physical therapy for 3 years for 20 hours and still wanted to live my life. I was like, how am I going to make that math? I learned this. I found through hard, and searching and taking all the books and making the mosaic and making them like, this is the way I'm going to do it. So I took all the information, distilled it into success is my birthright.
I like that.
Manage energy instead of time. And I teach what I call the 4 truths of life. Success is your birthright. Our needs are always met, not always our wants. When it comes to money, we got what we got. We don't got what we don't got. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now, these 4 things have helped me overcome embezzlement, have allowed me to go back to dancing after I've had 2 major accidents. And they told me I would never dance again, never mind dance the level that I did.
What kind of dance are we talking about?
I was trained as a ballet dancer and I did jazz and I was okay. And I was going back to school. I took a time away because I became a human doing at 18, 12 to 18. But I was planning on going back to get my degree. I was already an entrepreneur, but I really loved dance. And I was like, I want to go back to teach and I want to choreograph. And I still had a lot of dance in me. And a week before my audition, kid didn't see the red light. And I was 3.5 years physical therapy, learning just to sit up straight. So I thought, well, that's never going to work. And that was a bummer. I literally got recruited into the dance troupe that I danced with for 3.5 years in a neck brace. I was still in my neck brace. So I was like, so I tell that story because I'm like, what? I even said to the dance director, are you on crack? Are you blind? She's like, oh my God, I just had a C-section from hell. And whose guy had an elbow? Just come. You're a dancer. You need to be with dancers. She's like, even if you never take the stage, you need to be with us. That's why I'm big on relationships, Bob.
Okay.
If it wasn't for Joyce and my whole troupe that said, just show up, we're all like, and literally loved me through, looking in the mirror with no muscle memory. Like I remember when you take your pose and you're all like this. In my mind, I looked gorgeous. In the mirror, I looked like this.
Right.
And why I say it's a spiritual journey to get your dream, to get your birthright, because if it wasn't for that group of people, I would have run out of that room and never come back because I hated what I saw. And I felt so defeated. Like, oh
Okay.
my God, I look like that's not, how can I ever? And the love and like literally pulling me like a Gumby doll and making my eyes cross. And I'm like, how am I ever going to know that? Like, because you can't be in front of people without a mirror. They're like, and I'd go like this. She's like, you know how I like that? That's how you know your muscles are in the right place. So literally for like a year and a half, I danced like that until I
Okay.
could remember, oh, up. And
Right.
right. So 3.5 years later, we did precision dancing and
Hmm.
with people who never stopped dancing. We're like trained all those years that I was, you couldn't tell me from them, which was like the biggest thrill and the biggest accomplishment of my life. I looked just like them. And that's how I know I did not pursue that. I wasn't even open to the idea that it existed. Had my friend told me, get on a train, I'll meet you down at the station, you're coming to the dance, don't who's no one and no one's going to
Right.
care about your brace. And I'm like, and I'm like, and had I not, and I would have never done that if my friend said, listen, you got to come. And had I not done that, I would have never met Joyce,
Okay.
never met the family that I have now, would have
Okay.
never started my business,
Okay.
never started my business. Okay. But did I work for it? No, I actually put my fingers up and said, yeah, like to the universe, like, no,
Yeah.
you screwed me over. So that's why I talk about calling.
Okay.
We all have a calling,
Hmm.
and it's our job to find a way to live it.
Okay.
I find no matter how hard business might be, which it is, I feel having my own business is the best vehicle for me to live my dream.
Hmm.
That's why I have a business, and I can help a lot of people.
Okay.
And I happen to believe in business owners. I think we are the backbone of the economy. I think we are the dreamers. I think we are the achievers. And if we
The
think corporate
innovators.
America, if we think jobs and Gates are going to save us, no, we create jobs. We know how to invest in talent. We know how to appreciate people. We know how to link arm in arm and build communities because that's what
Okay.
we do.
You
So,
referred to you referred
yeah.
to 7 skills earlier.
Hmm.
Can you share what they are? I'm curious.
Sure. You remember them by focus on your basics. That's a mnemonic one of my clients gave me 25 years ago when I introduced it. Focus
Okay.
on your basics, which was really cool because I'm like, it's a strategy. She didn't know it. She was trying to just remember the 7 skills. I'm like,
Okay.
oh my God, that's our strategy. That's what we do. So you learn how to focus
Okay.
and you learn how to shift your beliefs, which
Okay.
you have a belief that what I'm saying is a unicorn. So that's true for you. Self esteem.
So I apologize. Now you
No,
make
it's
me feel
okay.
bad.
No,
But that
listen,
would
I
be something
I
if you
believed I believed dancing was over for me. I was wrong.
so if
Okay.
you and I work together, that would be something that you would try to help me resolve. Is that
Yes. Basically
okay?
what I do. So basically what I do is I focus you on focus, belief, self-esteem, integrity, commitment, and strategy.
That was 6, right?
Nope. Focus, belief, attitude. I'm sorry, I missed one.
Okay.
Attitude, self-esteem, integrity, commitment, strategy.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
in 6 weeks, that's all I teach you. And I say because like you got most of my people come to me because they want to make money and they don't want to work so hard. So my promise, I scale people in a 12 months from 6 figures to 7 and from
Okay.
7 figures to 8 all the time. But if like Kim, this is a unicorn. I'm like, okay, come to me and let's use these 7 skills to create 50K in 90 days. And then you can tell me if I'm a unicorn or not.
Are you finding most of your people are able to do that? And do they reach 50K or do they reach 300K?
It depends upon who they are.
Okay.
Most of my if they're already making like 300,000 or 50,000, we probably can do 100 in 90 days
Okay.
or it's relative. But for my 6 figure business owner
Mm-hmm.
who's doing everything themselves, like you, who's
Mm-hmm.
like him, I can't take off because if I take off, my money's going to drop.
Right.
That's a recipe for burnout. You know how that story's going to end. One day, like me, you're doing great until someone breaks something and then you can't do
Right.
something. So with them, I use the term the process is the same. If I'm working with an
Mhm.
8-figure person, I'm using a much bigger number.
Okay. Yep.
But for the 6-figure-ish
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur who's like you, like him, I can't take my foot off the pedal. This is my promise. And I put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to show you how to make an extra 50K working less hours using these 7 skills. These 7 skills are what manage your personal energy.
Okay.
The caveat is you need to be willing to have fun to get this done. And what we do is we map out the life you want to live first, because I don't focus on business. I focus on you and your life. Your business is only 1/9 of your life.
Okay.
We have to stop acting like it's our whole life. Our whole life cannot fit in our business. That's the problem. It's our life, our business has to fit into our life.
Okay.
And whether you want to stay a job, because some people like him, I don't really want to have a big business. Great. We need to get, if you want a 100-figure paycheck, we got to get you to 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a 100K for you, 100K for the business to help manage you and whatever
Sure.
little VA, and then taxes and money to invest. Your money always has to be working for you. You will never work your way to wealth.
Sure.
So it's either stay, me, myself, and I,
Mm-hmm.
triple your income, triple your sales, have a system that you can manage,
Right.
invest the difference,
Okay.
and or you start to triple your, as you want bigger paycheck, you triple that, and you hire what I call your dream team. And your dream team starts in stages, and it's personalized, and it depends on who
Okay.
you are. But we do that in a very systematized way, so that in the first 90 days, you're having fun, you're working less. And most of my established business owners who have relationships without, like, in their relationships, they're like, oh my God, there's 50K here to be had. That they don't see the money that's sitting on the table.
Okay. So are you someone who believes in setting intentions?
Yep. I don't do intentions before I ever set a goal.
What was your intention before this interview? Was there one?
To just, I said yes to your invitation, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we met exactly the way we talk about. We didn't know about each other. You reached out to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I reached back out saying, well, I don't need that, but do you like this? And you're like, yeah. And then we said, there wasn't an immediate need, but I
Right.
said, do you like to network? And you're like, oh, I love to. I had something to offer you.
Mm-hmm.
You said, hey, if you like to network, why don't you come on the show?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I said yes, because I even asked you, I said, well, who's your audience?
Right.
Right? Because I will not take people's time if I don't think I have something value to share.
Right. Right.
And you said, like, oh no, you have value. So my intention was to come meet you,
Okay.
see how you and I vibe together.
Mm-hmm.
And you had me at hello when we had our little chat. So I said to you, everyone needs to know you, because I
Okay.
think you can help my community. My intention was to speak to at least one person listening
Okay.
and get them to believe that success is their birthright. They can have the business they want their way, and that they can do it working less hours, living a life they love.
Do you want to know what my intention was?
Go ahead, lay it on me.
You're going to love this. Not to be intimidated by you.
Wow. How'd you do?
Until I told you that, probably fine.
Question for you. Well, I know I have a big energy. I do. I've had it since I was little. And yeah, I was intimidated by me, just FYI, Bob.
Well, what was intimidating to me, honestly, was as I was doing my research on you, the messages you were sharing in your marketing, in your materials, were the things I needed to hear. So my fear was, one, oh boy, she's going to catch me at my game. And two, oh no, I'm going to look really bad in front of people because she's going to catch me. And then number three, God's telling me, you really need to spend more time with this woman. So there was a lot of background. In fact, I almost canceled this morning. But
Really?
honestly, yes. Yes.
Wow. And I
I'm
was
just being,
having a
I'm just,
heart attack
you
thinking I
talked
was
about
late.
being transparent. I'm being
Yeah.
transparent with you.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Okay.
you don't know
So
what to do with that.
no. I know. No, funny story.
Yes.
A colleague that we were part of a chamber, And I loved her. She loved me. And she's like, I can't work with you, right? And I'm like, I know I go, why? You scare the crap out of me. 2 years later, she's like, you're not so scary now. And
Yep.
then like one time she's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, for what, Michelle? What do you want? She's like to work with you. I'm like, you are? She's like, yeah, you're not that scary. You're still scary, but not that scary anymore. So, but yeah, so I would love, we'll talk offline.
You
I
want to
used to
know
be,
why and how because you're worried that it might be affecting
no,
other people,
no,
right?
no, I did. No, I did. No. This is a thing that we can teach. This is going to be a teaching moment
Yeah.
for everybody.
Sure.
Um, First of all, I would never judge you
Okay. Thank
ever,
you.
ever. And if people aren't ready for me, then my thing is, if you're not ready for me, I'm like the big Greek fat wedding. Like what? You don't eat meat? Okay, we make you lamb. No problem. Um, that's why I love networking. Success is your birthright. I may just be the signpost, but
Right.
when I'm,
Right.
but where I'm needed, there is no substitute. But I've always had a big energy, even when I was little. And I didn't realize everyone recognized that I was gifted in my
Yeah.
wheelhouse. But yes, some people aren't ready for all this. And some people who aren't ready like to tear down what they don't feel they can be a part of.
Uh-huh.
So I had to learn through my growth, spiritual growth, business acumen growth, to not make myself little, to make other people feel better. And
Okay.
to trust, like you said, you read my, like I didn't, like I still have not mastered copy and all this like Google stuff. Other people have done it for me, or by speaking in other rooms, they've got the talent
Mhm.
that I don't. My intention all those years ago was to walk through my fear of, can I do this?
Mhm.
Because I knew there was at least one person, there was a whole bunch of people who needed to hear me say this
Okay.
and see me walk through my fear so they could walk through it too.
Makes sense.
So you are a living example of my intention,
Okay.
because, and this is why I tell people it's possible. Like I didn't know you, but my copy or my reputation found you where you were without me knowing it.
Right.
Okay. And that made you want to like reach out. Like it started this.
Mm-hmm.
So boil it all down. Doesn't matter if you're introverted, extroverted. You can talk to the wall like me, or you're like, I just want to type and have people come.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a business that brings people to you. Bob, did I
Mm-hmm.
hunt you down? Did I hunt you down?
No.
Okay.
No.
So my thing is, the whole thing of Success Genie is, again, I'll point you to the book. I'll point you to the coach. But
Mm-hmm.
learn how to bring what you want to you, because that's how life works. What we've been taught is the human doing game, not the human
Right.
being game.
Right.
It takes human beings to build businesses. It takes human beings to build businesses with people that value each other.
Okay.
And
I like that.
at the core, I'm a community builder who knows how to build businesses.
Which is relationships,
Always,
which goes
always,
back
and
to where you
always.
started as a
Yeah. And
babysitter.
I didn't know when I started I was this, or that I could ever make my own money, through the best and worst of times doing, I didn't know, but I believed. And I knew, if I showed people, if I did it and I could show other people to do it, I could change the world from where I was. And that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to change my world.
Want it or still want to?
Oh, still want to.
Okay.
I'm just getting started, but I'm a brat. And that's why I say, why my promise, like, I want my cake and eat it too. I've proven that it can be done. I've proven that other people can do it when they adopt, my
Mm-hmm.
framework, and then they make it their own. So I'm on a mission to wake up people's spirits.
Okay.
I lost my parents this past 5 years,
I'm sorry.
and they worked very hard their whole lives. They were wonderful people. Um, and I had the privilege of walking them through the last few years of their life,
Mm-hmm.
and they did it amazingly well with, and never did they ever say they wished they worked longer hours.
Right.
And right. And they were just like, I'm sorry, that we didn't have more time. Or
Right.
I wish my mom said, I wish I took you kids on more vacations when you were younger. I was so wrong about that.
Right.
So if they're listening, Bob, right? Even if they work, because I've helped people get up their careers and like have the job of their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You want to live your life using these skills
Mm-hmm.
so that when the end comes, you're like, I enjoyed every minute.
No regrets, right?
I went on every ride, and
Okay.
I can't wait to tell everyone I can't wait to tell my family when I get to the other side how much fun it was.
Okay.
That's why I do what I do.
Okay. So, Kim, this is where it gets exciting. It's been exciting,
Okay.
but we're going to go in a totally wild direction. In a minute, we're going to do the Bob Graham experience. That's the
Okay.
5 questions I warned you about. But first, you get the floor, I get quiet, and you can talk about whatever you choose to talk about. So the floor is yours.
All right. So I'm inviting you, the listeners or the watchers, to believe in yourself, to believe you can have your life and your business your way, just like Burger King. That, like Julia Roberts in The Runaway Bride, you need to learn how you like your eggs. That's the only thing between you and having the business of your dreams. How do you want it to feel? How do you want it to run? How do you want it to work? And how much money do you want it to make you so you can sit back and enjoy your life? That's the intention that I hope, trust that you're getting a glimmer of
Mm-hmm.
by being with us. And if I'm the introduction to that, that's great. I'm sure Bob's going to give us a way to connect.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I've inspired you to call Bob or call your friend who's been telling you to do something forever, or like you finally got the divine download to tell your coach, oh my God, this is what I want. How can you help me do it? Then I feel like I've done my job.
Okay, wow. And you got a Julia Roberts reference in. That's some people might tell you I've watched that movie a few times. I know that the package will get there by 10:30 in the morning, one way or another, right? That's the best line in the whole movie. If you haven't watched that movie, it's Runaway Bride. It's really
It's
funny.
fabulous. Yeah. And
And
I
it's
love that.
shot in Maryland. So there are actually
Yeah.
scenes of it that I know exactly where it's been shot.
Yeah,
Kind
and
of
that
cool.
and that scene about her eggs, like
Yeah,
I could do a whole master class on that. So that
that would
that
be an interesting master class. You'd
maybe I
get
could
some attention.
yeah,
No
maybe I'll do
lie.
that.
I
Yeah,
like
maybe
that.
yeah.
All right, are you ready, Kim, for the
Okay,
Bob
let's
Graham
go.
experience? All right,
Let's
here we
go.
go. What's the last thing you read?
Into the Magic Shop by Dr. Jim Doty.
Okay, well, I don't know that one. Tell me about that a little bit.
Into the Magic Shop is a book about what I call energy management.
Okay.
What is it? Neurogenics.
Mm-hmm.
How to focus on and feel like what you want to feel like if whatever you want happened, and how you get led to that, whatever you need, and making it happen. So Dr. Jim Doty was a child of an alcoholic and a depressed mom
Mm-hmm.
in like the rural California. And he was into magic, and he went one day to the magic shop to get a trick thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of meeting the magic shop owner who was running an errand, he met the mother, who's just was spending 6 weeks with her son, the magic shop owner, and told Jim that she would teach you. She goes, I don't know anything about magic. You'll have to wait until until my son gets back, but I can teach you the real magic. And they spent 6 weeks together, and she taught him what is now known as quantum mechanics and like neurogenics and all that.
Okay.
And he was, didn't have any kind of support or upbringing, lots of problems, never always getting evicted. But she got him to learn how to focus and calm his nervous system
Mm-hmm.
and focus on what he wanted in life, and taught him her magic. And he goes through his life telling you the journey of his life and how he used the magic. And even though he never even thought and how he didn't even have anybody told him he was going to college, and he did the impossible, and how he made things show up, and how he advocated for himself using the magic. And then he talks about what happened when he didn't follow her rules, and how things went awry. But he's a neurosurgeon,
Okay.
and his story is incredible. I recommend Audible because he narrates it,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
it's a work, and he tells you what to do too. So he tells you his story, and you can learn about yourself in his story. But
Oh,
then he tells you what to do, like he walks you through the steps that Ruth taught him, so
okay.
you can experience the magic too.
Nice. Wow. That was a great book summary. You'd get an A in my class.
All right, cool.
All right. Second question. What's your most important inspiration?
My relationships, my relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think the core one, the first one, was my great grandmother. She passed away when I was 9. We had the best conversations. Sometimes I think I imagined those conversations, but I didn't. Um, Everything I do is to honor her, like even being in my own business and surviving my life.
Mm-hmm.
There were times I didn't think I wanted to survive, and um, I would remember her and how she lost her family at 16.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the last people to get out of Turkey,
Okay.
Armenia, before the major genocide, and lost. She thought her parents were coming, and I have the story. I grew up
Oh.
with all the stories, but her story. Um, she found out at 16. She was married here. Her family was gone,
Mm.
and my grandfather too. And I could tell you, but how they, no therapy, no counseling. They just built community with those who survived and came to Connecticut, and how they created us, and the unconditional love that she had for her grandchildren and me, the great grandchildren, and how she prepared me to live a life without her.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, she and her daughters are the shoulders of the giant, are the shoulders that I stand on. So, and I'm a product of all the relationships that I have in my life. So,
Aren't we
my
all?
if relationships were a currency, I'd be bigger than Bill Gates. I'd be absolutely bigger than Bill Gates.
Okay. Wow. I like that. What's your biggest daily challenge?
Managing my personal energy.
Well, that was brutally
Why do
honest.
you think I teach it? Um, yeah. My biggest challenge is focusing, what's between my two ears, and reminding myself I got what I got, I don't got what I don't got, and it doesn't mean anything. It means, like, what do you want to do with it?
Okay. What's your guiding principle?
Build it and they will come.
Okay. Field of
Build it.
Dreams, huh?
Yeah, that was that movie helped me start my business. That was like I was asking for a sign from the, like, universe. I'm like, I know you gave Moses the burning bush and you gave Noah the ark, but like I need something. Oprah's fine.
And I hear
Um,
Kevin Costner's a lot better looking than Moses.
yeah, yeah. And the
If you're going to get a
movie,
signal, I mean,
yeah,
sorry.
back then he was a cool drink of water. He's not bad looking now, but he was but God talks to me through the movies. That's why I give references to,
Okay.
like, but yeah, when I saw that, because I was like Kevin Costner at the time, no degree, no PhD. Who's going to listen to me? And it was very clear, build it and they will come. And they did.
I like that. All right. Last question. What's a skill you didn't know you had that you rely on a lot now?
My ability to build quality win-win relationships. I didn't
Oh,
know back when I was 16 starting sales. I was terrified of sales. I was terrified of talking to people. I didn't think you'd like me. I didn't know that I could be who I am now. And yeah, it saved my bacon and a lot of people's bacon more than 1,000 times.
Kim, this has been amazing. I'm so glad I didn't cancel this.
I'm glad you didn't too,
I'm
because
so
I
embarrassed that I even told you that.
no, listen, there's nothing, and just so you guys all know, one of the things that everyone loves about me, who like finds me refreshing, I'm the Barbara Walters of coaching. I get it out of you. The truth always comes out. And I always say, if you cry, because they're like, you're making me cry. I'm like, Barbara would always get you that guy. And I'm like, when you cry, you fly. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah. But no, I appreciate you being since I had to be vulnerable with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. But my bark is not like is bad. My bite isn't that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this
And if
has
I
been
do,
great,
it's because
Kim.
I love you.
Real quick, how can we get in touch with you? And what's the easiest way to start the ball rolling? If someone heard this or watched this and said, oh my God, I got to talk to Kim today, what's the easiest way to do that?
The best way to reach out to me is, if you want to reach out to me, like you want start a conversation, Kim@successgenie.com.
Okay.
Success, like SUCCESSGENIE.com. If you want to lurk, come look on my personal, I share everything on my personal Facebook page, Kimberly Kasparian. Okay. You can come be a
I'll put
fan.
this on the show notes. So if you're driving, we've got an opportunity for you.
Kimberly could come be a friend, and I have places to introduce you to. Like I have a free room. But if you're like, I want Kim, tell me more about the 7 skills. I have a free quiz that'll tell you the status of your 7 skills, where you're hot and where you need some help. It's a self questionnaire, and I'll get a copy. You'll get a copy. And if you want me to review and if you want me to review it with you, you'll get 30 minutes with me.
Okay.
And it's a lot of S's. Get your, it's all one word, getyoursuccessscore.com.
Good domain.
Yeah, it's all one word, but if you look at it all, you're going to be like, but it's basically your YOUR success, SUCCESS, score, SCORE.com. I've mapped out all your 7 skills, and how do you know they're working for you or not?
How many questions are there? Is this like a 5-minute assessment, or is this going to take me an hour?
It's a 5-minute assessment.
Okay.
You don't overthink it. You're either a 1 or a 10 or somewhere in between.
Okay.
And at the very least, it gives you a roadmap. I'm all about roadmaps. You can't go if you don't know where you're going. It gives you a roadmap of what to focus on and master to get that skill working for you. If you know how to do it, Into the Magic Shop's a great way to start. Or you're like, Kim, now that I know what the frick I got and what I don't, if you want to start a conversation with me about how I might be able to help you, I'm happy to do that. Gift 30 minutes for free.
That's awesome. That's a great offer. I might take advantage of that myself.
You would be most welcome. It would be my gift to you.
Well, thank you, Kim. This has been really great. I appreciate your time. I know you've got a lot going on. You've been really open and honest, and I've grown a lot just from this hour. So thank you so much. I know the audience is going, wow, this was something. So folks, this is what we do at the Bob Graham Experience. We interview people like Kim. We bring it to you so that you can better understand the world of business and yourself. You can see more episodes in the archive. You can also see more episodes coming up. Till next time, take care.
That was the Bob Graham Experience. Want to be a guest and experience it for yourself? Visit thebobgrahamexperience.com to get on the list. And of course, please rate us and listen to other episodes wherever you had the Bob Graham Experience. Until next time.